Have you ever had the feeling you're screaming into a void? That you're striving, fighting, running, only to feel like the universe simply doesn't hear you? As if your actions are waves that die before they reach the shore, leaving no mark, making no impact. You are not alone. Look around. Most men today walk through the world like ghosts. Their eyes are dull, their shoulders are slumped. Their life force is at such a low level that their presence barely registers in a room. They don't lead, they react. They don't create, they consume. They don't live, they merely exist. And the most tragic part is, they believe this is normal, but it's not. This state of impotence is not your natural condition. It is the result of a theft, a silent, systematic heist that happened right under your nose. They stole something from you, something more precious than your money or your time. They stole your frequency, your signal. Think of yourself as a transmission tower. You were born to emit a strong, clear, and coherent signal, an energetic signature that tells the world, I am here, I am a force, I have a purpose. But a thief broke into your control room. This thief has many names: pornography, instant gratification, cheap dopamine, the matrix of distraction. Every day, this thief convinces you to step onto the altar of pixelated pleasure and make a sacrifice. And what you sacrifice is not just a biological fluid, it is your life force, your power, your clarity. With every click, every purposeless release, you allow this thief to hijack your energy, weaken your signal, and disconnect you from the source. The result is the ghost man, a tower that is still standing, but transmits nothing, only static. And here is the brutal truth no one ever told you. The universe does not respond to men who transmit static. Imagine the fabric of reality as a cosmic mirror, a mirror that reflects not what you desire, but the very frequency you are. If you emit a weak, chaotic, and fragmented signal, the mirror reflects back a weak, chaotic, and fragmented reality. This is why your efforts seem futile. This is why doors don't open. This is why you feel invisible. You are screaming at the mirror to change, not realizing it is your own image that must be transformed. But what if you could reclaim your transmission tower? What if you could expel the thief, close the floodgate where your energy leaks, and begin to accumulate power again? This is where a wisdom as old as the stars, yet so dangerous to the current system that it was buried under layers of taboo and shame, comes into play. The practice of semen retention. No, this is not about becoming a monk or denying your sexuality. It is about understanding the energetic code of the universe. It is about the conscious decision to stop feeding the thief and start feeding yourself. It is the act of taking the energy you have been wasting outward and directing it inward, rewiring your circuits, densifying your presence, and most importantly, tuning your signal. When a man does this, something mind-bending happens. The cosmic mirror is forced to respond. The static begins to transform into a clear, powerful note. The universe, which once seemed deaf, begins to listen. What was chance becomes synchronicity. What was resistance becomes flow. This video is your wake-up call. It is the revelation of the spiritual physics that separates the men who are victims of reality from those who co-create it. We are going to unravel how the universe truly rewards men who stop leaking and start retaining, and how you can use this ancient law to transform your life from the inside out. The question isn't whether you have the power to change your reality. The question is whether you have the courage to stop handing over the key to your own energy. Stay with me, because we are about to get the signal back online. If you're ready to tune in, subscribe to the channel. This ensures the signal doesn't get lost in the noise of the world. It's your way of keeping this line of communication open. Now, let's get to the physics behind the mirror. To get your signal back online, we first need to make an honest diagnosis of the interference. To understand the distorted reflection in the cosmic mirror, we have to analyze the image being projected. And that image, for most men, is one of a silent crisis. Let's call it what it is. What the modern man feels is not just fatigue or stress. It is an evaporation, a slow, constant erosion of his life force. It's waking up in the morning already in an energy debt, like a battery that never charges above 40%. It's the chronic procrastination that isn't laziness, but a symptom of an internal operating system that has been corrupted. It is a low-grade anxiety that hums constantly beneath the surface, a buzz of dissatisfaction that no amount of entertainment can silence for long. It is the inability to be present. You're at dinner with people you love, but your mind is elsewhere, itching for a dopamine hit from your phone. You try to read a book, but your focus has been so fragmented that after 3 paragraphs, the restlessness becomes unbearable. This is not your factory setting. You were not born to be this way. This state of deficit, of fragmentation, is the symptom. It is the fever. But to cure the fever, we must find the infection. And the infection comes from a wound the system has taught you to open every day, believing it to be an act of relief. This hemorrhage of power has a specific cause. The weapon aimed at your masculine soul is soulless sexuality. It is the promise of pleasure, stripped of its sacred components, presence, intimacy, polarity, risk, and real connection. Its most potent and addictive form is pornography. Think of it not as entertainment, but as an energetic vampire. It presents itself as a source of relief, pleasure, and freedom, but what it really does is feed on your creative force. Every session, every click, is a ritual where you sacrifice your life force on the altar of a pixelated fantasy. You surrender your imagination, your focus, and your testosterone to shadows on a screen that give you nothing in return, except for a 3-second chemical peak, followed by a valley of hours of emptiness. The system sold you this weapon as if it were a gift. It rebranded addiction as freedom of expression. It turned degradation into fetish. It normalized the act of a man spilling the seed that could create life into a tissue, alone in a dark room. And it made you believe this was harmless, but it's not. It is an empty calorie for the spirit. It's the equivalent of trying to nourish yourself by eating styrofoam. It fills your stomach, but leaves you starving for what is real. Pornography and compulsive masturbation are the direct cause of your energetic hemorrhage. It is the primary wound. And this wound is kept open because you live inside a battlefield designed to ensure you never heal. This weapon is not fired in a vacuum. It is the main artillery in a carefully engineered war zone, the matrix of distraction. Your phone, your laptop, your newsfeed, your social media. This is enemy territory. It is an environment designed by brilliant minds with a single objective: to keep you in a perpetual cycle of stimulation and depletion. The matrix doesn't want to kill you. It needs you alive, but it needs you weak. A man with his life force intact is unpredictable. He creates, he builds, he leads, he questions. He doesn't need to buy products to validate his masculinity. He doesn't need constant entertainment to escape his own silence. He is sovereign, and a sovereign man is the world's worst consumer. Therefore, the battlefield was designed to keep you drained. The algorithm studies you and learns your weaknesses. It knows exactly which image, which video, which content suggestion will hit your trigger and pull you into the vortex. It offers you a momentary relief from the anxiety that it itself helped to create. It is the perfect cycle. They are not selling a product, you are the product. More precisely, your attention is, and your sexual energy is the fastest, most reliable shortcut to stealing it. So, let's recap the diagnosis. The symptom is the energy crisis, the feeling of being a ghost. The weapon that causes the wound is soulless sexuality, led by pornography, and the battlefield is the digital environment, the matrix, designed to keep you bleeding. You are not fighting a bad habit, you are fighting a system. And now that you know the enemy, its weapon, and its strategy, you can, for the first time, begin to fight back. I know, This diagnosis is heavy. It's like turning on a bright light in a dark room and, for the first time, seeing the true shape of the chains that have been holding you. And the most powerful part of seeing the truth is discovering you are not alone in it. Think of the comments section not as a wall, but as the campfire at a base camp, where the soldiers in this invisible war gather at night to acknowledge one another and see they are not fighting alone. So, I ask you with total honesty and zero judgment, which aspect of the drained man we described resonated most with your reality? Is it the mental fog and procrastination that seem to sabotage your best plans? Is it the difficulty of being truly present with the people you love? Or is it that frustrating feeling of having a giant potential locked inside you, but never having the energy to unleash it? No long story is needed. Sometimes a simple "the mental fog is real," or "I feel this in my lack of focus" is enough. By sharing, you validate your own struggle and, more importantly, you show another man that he is not alone. Let's show the strength of those who are waking up. The battle is real and collective. The feeling of being drained, of fighting against an invisible force, is the shared experience of a legion of men who are waking up. But to win a war, it's not enough to know the enemy. You must know the laws of the territory where the war is fought. And the territory, my brother, is the universe itself. Your victory will not come from willpower alone, but from understanding and applying a fundamental principle. A law as ancient and immutable as existence itself. The law is this: the universe does not respond to what you ask for or desire. It responds to who you become. And who you are, at your deepest essence, is a frequency, a vibration. This might sound poetic, but it is the frontier where physics and spirituality meet. Cutting-edge science, with string theory, posits that at the most fundamental level of reality, there are no solid particles. There are tiny strings of energy vibrating at different frequencies, and the resonance of these strings creates everything we see and touch. The ancient masters, without particle accelerators, arrived at the same conclusion through intuition. They called this universal energy, prana, chi, the force. They knew that everything, from a galaxy to a thought, is energy in motion, and every man is a transmission tower, constantly emitting a signal to the cosmos, a unique vibrational signature. Now, let's apply this law to the diagnosis we just made. Think of the drained man, the ghost man trapped in the matrix of distraction. What is the signal he transmits? It is a weak, intermittent, chaotic signal, full of static. His life force, his sexual energy, is constantly leaking. His thoughts are fragmented, jumping from one distraction to another. His emotions are a roller coaster, alternating between cheap excitement and the emptiness of regret. He transmits a frequency of lack, of inconsistency. Remember, the cosmic mirror. As an impartial law, the universe does not judge this signal. It simply reflects it with perfect precision. And the reflection of a chaotic signal is a chaotic life. Opportunities that don't materialize, relationships that don't deepen, respect that is not commanded, a constant feeling of swimming against the tide. This isn't bad luck. It is resonance. It is the universe mirroring your internal disorder as your external reality. It is here that semen retention reveals itself, not as a simple act of discipline, but as the most powerful tool of vibrational engineering available to a man. When you make the decision to retain your seed, you are doing much more than just saving a fluid. You are beginning the process of tuning your instrument. First, you stop the hemorrhage. By stopping the constant leak, you interrupt the transmission of the signal of lack and desperation. You stop screaming, "I need," at the universe. Second, you begin to accumulate power. The energy that was once wasted outward begins to build up and circulate inward. Your presence becomes denser. Your electromagnetic field expands. The volume of your signal increases. Third, and most importantly, you create coherence. By practicing retention, your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions begin to align. The static diminishes. Your frequency stabilizes, becoming a clear, strong, and constant note. You begin to transmit a signal of self-mastery, of internal order, of contained power. And what does the cosmic mirror do when it detects a clear and ordered signal? It has no choice. It must reflect a clear and ordered reality. The synchronicities that begin to happen are not magic. They are the universe realigning reality to match your new frequency. The right people show up because they now resonate with your new vibration. The doors open because you now vibrate at the frequency of the key. You no longer need to chase the world. You attract it. Not because you are thinking positive, but because you have become a positive force. You have become a magnet. This is the spiritual physics of retention. It is the science behind what the ancients called blessings and what modern people call luck. It is not about denying your nature. It is about mastering it to become a master of your own frequency. Change your vibration, and you force your reality to change. But this tuning is not a passive act of just not doing. It is an active art, an alchemy. But before we pick up the tools for this tuning, a moment to feel. The spiritual physics we've explored, the universal law of vibration and resonance. Did that speak to you? Not to your mind, but to your intuition. If the answer is yes, if you felt the truth behind these words on a deeper level, then your like on this video is the physical manifestation of that resonance. It is your signal to us and to the universe that we are on the same frequency. With that attunement established, let's get to the practical alchemy. First, the universe shows you that it has heard your new signal. It responds. This response doesn't come as a voice from the heavens, but through what Carl Jung, the psychologist who most deeply understood these mysteries, called synchronicity. Synchronicity is the term for coincidences that are so meaningful they defy probability. It is the universe weaving reality around you in a way that feels orchestrated to guide you. You start thinking about a problem, and the solution appears in a paragraph of a book you open at random. You decide you need a mentor, and an old friend calls to introduce you to the exact person you needed. You feel lost on a project, and a conversation with a stranger gives you the missing clarity. This isn't luck, it is resonance. The universe, like a perfect algorithm, begins to connect you with the people, information, and opportunities that vibrate at the same frequency as your new internal coherence. Your energetic field, now strong and ordered, acts as a lighthouse, attracting the ships that are sailing the same route. But for this response to intensify, you cannot be a passive receiver. You must become a conscious creator, starting today. Keep a journal. It can be a notebook or a note on your phone with the title Synchronicity Journal. Your only task is to record all the small coincidences and synchronicities that happen. The friend who called at the right time, the song that played with the answer you needed, the insight that came out of nowhere. By doing this, you train your brain to recognize the patterns. You prove to yourself that the dialogue is real, strengthening your faith in the process and, in turn, amplifying the signal you emit. Before you sleep, formulate a clear, specific question about the next step you need to take in your life or on a project. For example, what is the most effective way to solve this obstacle in my work? Don't try to find the answer. Just launch the question to the universe, as if you were planting a seed in the quantum field. Then, in the following days, your only job is to be hyper-aware of the answers that will appear in your reality, in the form of conversations, articles, opportunities. You are tuning your radio to pick up a specific station. Synchronicity is an invitation to a dance. If the universe extends its hand, you must accept. When a clearly synchronous opportunity, insight, or connection appears, you must act on it immediately. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. Make the call, send the email, start writing. Acting on inspiration is what closes the circuit. It is your way of saying yes to the universe, proving that you are ready and willing to co-create, which will inevitably lead you to the next phase, the trial the universe. seeing that you are becoming a conduit for power, needs to know if you are worthy of more. It needs to test the integrity of your new foundation. The trial is not a punishment. It is a promotion disguised as a challenge. It is the universe asking you, have you truly changed, or are you just pretending? These tests are diabolically clever. They will not come in the form of a horned demon, but in the form of your oldest and most seductive weaknesses. They are designed to strike precisely at the points where your old programming was strongest. The ex-girlfriend with whom you had a toxic relationship will text you out of the blue. An easy, comfortable job opportunity that is misaligned with your mission will appear. The urge to spend all night playing video games or falling into a porn vortex will arise with a force you haven't felt in months. These are not random events. They are the gatekeepers of the next portal. In these moments, take out your journal again. Right at the top, my integrity tests. List, with brutal honesty, 3 to 5 of your most recurrent weaknesses and patterns of self-sabotage. The dependency on validation, procrastination through distraction, the seeking of comfort over growth. By naming your demons, you take away their power. When a test appears, you will not be caught by surprise. You will recognize it immediately. One of the best ways to resist a lesser temptation is to be consumed by a greater obsession. You need to have your mission, your purpose, your vision, written down and visible. It can be on a post-it note on your computer screen or on a board on your wall. When the test appears, your only task is to look at your mission and ask the binary question: does this move me closer to or further from the man I have sworn to become? The clarity of your mission is the lighthouse that guides you through the storm of temptation. This is the master's move. Instead of just resisting the energy of temptation, you transmute it. Feel the wave of sexual desire pulling you toward the computer. Do not fight it. Take that raw energy and immediately channel it into an action aligned with your mission. Do 20 push-ups. Work for 20 minutes on your project with total focus. Write passionately in your journal. You use the enemy's poison as your own fuel. By doing this, you don't just pass the test. You absorb the power of the gatekeeper and become even stronger for the next level of your journey. Pass the universe's tests, and it will have no choice but to entrust you with more power, more responsibility, and more miracles. When a man consistently passes the universe's integrity tests, when he chooses his mission over gratification and his honor over convenience, something profound begins to shift. The identity of the practitioner or the warrior in training begins to dissolve, and a new, yet ancient energy begins to take the throne of his consciousness. It is the rise of the sovereign, the awakening of the inner king archetype. It is crucial that you understand what this means. The inner king has nothing to do with tyranny, arrogance, or dominion over others. That is the shadow, the tyrant, who is just a frightened boy trying to control the outer world because he has no control over his inner world. The true king archetype is the opposite. His power emanates not from his ability to control others, but from his absolute dominion over a single territory, himself. The king is the master of his inner realm. His thoughts are his advisors, but not his masters. His emotions are messengers that he listens to, but which do not rule him. His impulses and desires are wild horses that he has learned to tame and use in service of the kingdom. He is the embodiment of sovereignty. The primary function of the king is to bring order to chaos. He looks at the raw, chaotic energy of his own nature and gored passion, sexual energy, and, instead of fearing or repressing it, he organizes it. He channels it into building systems, projects, a structured life. Discipline is no longer a burden. To him, it is the architecture of his palace. With this order comes responsibility. The modern man, stuck in the prince archetype, yearns for the privileges of the crown, but rejects its weight. The king understands that the crown is not an ornament, it is a glorious burden. He understands that his strength, his clarity, and his energy are not just for his own benefit, but for the protection and flourishing of his kingdom, be it his family, his company, his community, or his art. His power is measured by what he is able to sustain, and a well-governed kingdom is, by nature, a fertile kingdom. The king is an archetype of creation. His ordered presence and channeled energy naturally generates abundance. He does not chase success, he cultivates it. He builds, he creates value, he generates more life and order than he consumes. When you begin to embody this energy, your manifestation in the world changes drastically. You stop rushing. The king does not hurry. He commands time, for he moves at his own pace, not at the frantic pace imposed by the world's anxiety. Your words become less frequent, but carry more weight. Your silence ceases to be awkward and becomes a source of power and observation. But the ascent to the throne has a price. It is the loneliness of the summit. You will realize that your new frequency no longer resonates with many of your old relationships. Friends who connected with you through complaining, distraction, or vice will begin to drift away. They will call you arrogant, distant, too serious. Do not judge them. They simply cannot breathe the rarefied air of the mountain you have chosen to climb. This is a necessary purification. It is the king bidding farewell to the court of the prince. And do not be fooled, the tests continue. But they become more subtle. They are no longer the gross temptations of porn or laziness. They are the tests of the king. Pride, the trap of feeling superior, the temptation to use your power for manipulation. And it is here that the true sovereign is revealed, not in what he conquers, but in what he renounces for the sake of his integrity. The final reward the universe bestows upon the king is no longer gold, power, or validation. It is an unshakable peace, a quiet certainty that needs no explanation. It is the inner knowledge that you are exactly where you are meant to be, doing exactly what you are meant to do. It is the quiet strength of the man who has finally learned to rule himself. Of course, after the rise of the inner king, the journey deepens to its final and most sublime stage. The transition is from governing to unification. From doing to being, there comes a moment on the king's path. After countless tests of integrity and countless days of silent discipline, when words begin to fail, the goals, the desires, even the idea of reward, all of it begins to dissolve into an ocean of presence. The effort disappears. The struggle ceases. This is where you cross the final portal. It is the point where retention is no longer an effort, but your identity. It is no longer a practice, but a state of being. You are no longer trying to be a sovereign man. You simply are. Welcome to the state of wholeness. What defines this stage is the final dissolution of inner duality. The war between the king and the beast, between discipline and impulse, is over. Not because one conquered the other, but because they have integrated. The wild energy of the beast now serves the king's vision with total loyalty and joy. There is no more negotiation, more conflict. There is only a unified flow of intention and action. The visible effects of your journey, the clearer skin, the stronger gaze, the abundant energy, the steady voice, the apparent luck, all of it is still there. But something crucial has changed. They have become irrelevant to you. Your source of validation has migrated completely from the external mirror to the internal sun. You no longer need this proof, because you now feel the truth of your own strength in every cell. You are whole. With this wholeness, your perception of the world transforms. You begin to see with different eyes, to see the spiritual war behind every human interaction. You see the lie in the eyes of those who pretend, the pain in those who hide, the fear in those who attack. And, instead of judgment, a deep, detached compassion emerges. You understand, for you recognize the same battle you once fought within yourself. Your weapon is no longer debate or confrontation. Your most powerful weapon is your silence, your energy, your righteousness. You have become what the modern world both fears and craves the most, an awakened man, and this is unsettling. Your mere presence, your unshakable calm, exposes everything that is false around you. The voids that others try to fill with noise, the fears they try to hide with arrogance, the addictions they call freedom. You no longer need to prove your point. Your life has become the argument. Your discipline is the testimony. Your vibration is the truth. But this does not make you better. It makes you more responsible. Because now you carry a light that can guide or blind, a power that can heal or hurt, and the universe watches you closely to see what you will do with this force. It is here that the final law of reward reveals itself. If you keep this power only for yourself, to feed your ego, the light will fade. But if you become a channel, if you use your strength to serve, to teach, to inspire, to build, then the miracle multiplies. The universe exponentially rewards those who share what they have received. At this point, you understand. The goal was never just to receive the miracles. It was to become one. The right people, the opportunities, the answers, they find you. Now not to serve you, but so that you can serve through them. The boy who fell so many times has died. The slave to impulse has been buried. And in his place, the man the universe always wanted to honor has been born, not for being the strongest, but for becoming the most faithful to his own soul. And so, we reach the end of our map, but the true beginning of your journey. We have traveled together. From the ghost man lost in the static of distraction, to the awakened man who becomes one with the universe's signal. We saw how reality works like a cosmic mirror, reflecting not what we desire, but the frequency we emit. We understood that retention is not about denial, but about alchemy, the sacred art of transforming the most primary energy into directed power. We navigated the rewards of synchronicity and overcame the tests of integrity, until we arrived at the silent throne of the inner king, and finally, at the state of wholeness. What has been revealed here is not a set of rules, but the rediscovery of a code, an energetic code that allows you to stop being a victim of circumstance and start being a co-creator of your own reality. The final goal was never to become superhuman, but to become radically, powerfully, and authentically human, as you were originally designed to be. But I must be honest with you, this path is not a straight line to enlightenment. There will be days of doubt. There will be moments when the siren song of instant gratification will seem unbearable. There will be falls. The world out there will not stop trying to pull you back into the matrix. Mastery is not found in never falling, but in the unshakable fidelity to the path. It is in the ability to get back up, dust yourself off, realign with your purpose, and take the next step, again and again. Perfection is not demanded of you, but your presence and your perseverance are. And it is precisely because this journey is the greatest challenge a man can face, that you do not have to, nor should you, walk it alone. This channel, Neuro Alchemy, is more than a place to watch videos. It is our laboratory. It is our forge. It is the campfire where the warriors and alchemists of this era gather. Here, we merge cutting-edge neuroscience to understand the hardware of our brain and deprogram addiction with the timeless wisdom of alchemy to execute the software of our spiritual transformation. If this message resonated with your soul, if you felt the call to stop being a battery for the system and to become the source of your own power, then I invite you to make your declaration. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss any of our transmissions. Join our growing community of men who are choosing sovereignty over submission, and to seal your intention, go to the comments and declare, I choose to retain, I choose to awaken. Feel the power in those words. Use them as your anchor. Thank you for your deep attention and for the courage to face this knowledge. What you do with it now will define the rest of your story. Your energy is sacred. Your mission is real. Your power is waiting to be reclaimed.